My name is Jerry Gill.
All right.
And today, which is October the 17th, 2008.
Okay.
I'm visiting with Ira Scott from
That's
Houston,
it.
Texas, in the Alumni Center on
Right.
the OSU campus. And this interview is part of the O State Storage Project, which is part of the Oklahoma Oral History Research Program.
Okay.
Ira, it's good to have you with us today.
Hey, it's great to be here.
All right.
Good seeing you.
Ira, gosh, you got a long history with Oklahoma State University, and the first question I got to ask you, you're back for the OSU Black Alumni Association golf tournament today.
Yes.
Did you shoot a good score? Did you have a good tournament today?
Hey, I had an enjoyable day. I had a lot of fun, met a lot of new old guys, new guys, and just had a great time.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, maybe back up a minute, kind of get to where we are. How did you start? Let's talk a little bit about your early life, your family life, and growing up, and where you grew up. Could you share a little bit of that with us?
Well, I was born in New Orleans. However, my parents moved to Houston, Texas, when I was about 5 years old, and that's really where I grew up in Houston, although my roots are in New Orleans. And in Houston, I was educated in public schools there. Both parents were school teachers, and tried to play sports. Football and basketball, but I seem to do a little better in basketball. So that was great because basketball is really the main reason how I got to Oklahoma State University.
Well, you tell us about the recruiting process then. Did Mr. Iba obviously was your coach on stage?
That's right. Well, my first contact really with the Big Eight was through Nebraska. That was a recruiter was at my school and talked to me about attending Nebraska. That was quite a distance from Houston. It was also cold, and I grew up in that warm climate. I didn't know about that. So I wasn't real sold on it. I wanted to stay in Texas. However, during those days, it was a sad time for me. I couldn't attend the universities that I wanted to attend in Texas due to the laws of the state and all of that at that time. So Oklahoma State came to me through an individual in Houston who was doing some recruiting for OSU, and oh gosh, I don't remember his name. I really don't remember his name. But anyway, he talked to me. Another of my high school classmates who also played basketball was also interested in going to OSU, and we kind of decided together to come up. Yeah, play basketball.
Who's your other?
Chad Brown was his name. Yeah, Chad Brown. He played basketball also for Iba. So it was, and as I said, Nebraska was cold. Oklahoma wasn't as cold. Yeah, that's right. Well, I had some other schools that I was looking at, but I wanted to get out of Houston. University of Houston was interested in me, but I wanted to get away from Houston. But I didn't want to get too far from Houston because I wanted to be able to come back home when on the weekends or something. Unfortunately, I didn't do a very good job of that because Stillwater is quite a distance from Houston.
Yeah. In your basketball season, Mr. Iba, preseason.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
We're talking about basketball. Let's just kind of pursue that a minute. And I want to get back to talking about your other OSU experience about basketball. So who are some of the guys you played with? This is the fall of when you came to OSU?
Yeah, when I came up in '63, that was when James King was here, Gene Johnson, Larry Hawk, Paul LeBrew, Freddie Mulder. That was a team, and I guess back then you couldn't play as a freshman. So the next year, in '64, I think that was the year we won the Big Eight championships. Yeah. That's right.
We'll talk about that. Okay. But did you kind of recall? You started before you were out of here. I mean, did you not?
You started on the team? Oh no, I wasn't a starter. Okay. No. It was funny. I played center in high school, and I came here, and unfortunately, I was kind of earmarked to be a center here. Well, I was only about 6'4" on the program, and those were the days when the 7-footers were just starting to play, but they weren't very coordinated. And I could hold my own with those guys. But then when I came up against, say, a 6'10" guy that was a little athletic, it was tough. And OSU wasn't very tall during those days, so that helped me. That was another good reason to come here. But so that helped. And as a 6'4" center, it was tough, but I could jump.
What was it like playing basketball for Mr. Iba?
Oh, gosh, it was a humbling experience. Very humbling. I'll never forget, I think it was the third or fourth practice, and he was hollering and screaming, and I was really getting down. And the assistant coach then was Sam Marbury. And he came over to me and said, "Son, if you think this was bad, you should have been here about 10 years ago when he was younger, and he'd kick you in your behind." So I guess that made me feel a little better that I hadn't been physically abused. But he was a tough coach, but a good coach.
Is it true that you had during, I guess it was during Christmas season, when you actually had 3-a-days?
3-a-days. We had to practice 3 times a day. It was tough. I mean, tough. 3 times a day, morning, afternoon, and night. And that was very difficult. All you could do was, eat, go to practice, and try to survive. That was right. Yeah. That's it.
Wow. We talked about the Kansas game. So there's some special games or players that stand out in your memory?
Oh, well, there's some special players. I really enjoyed playing with Gene Johnson. Real good guy. We had some tough practices and competition, here on campus. And I'll never forget Larry Hawk either. This guy was a guard, but he was so quick, and I don't think I'd ever seen anyone play that was that quick before. And then there was Paul LeBrew, who was a big bruiser of a guy. He was slow. Paul, I'm sorry, but he was strong, and he was a great guy to set a pick for you because it was like hitting a brick wall.
Yeah. So we've got to talk about the Kansas game, the one the Big 8.
Yeah, that was
regular season.
That's right.
Conference time.
Yeah, that was a big game for us.
3 overtimes.
Oh, yes. Yeah, something like that. I forget. It's been so long ago. But we prevailed. And, wow, it was just grand times. Great times for us. As a matter of fact, I believe our team was the only one that ever won the Big 8 championship. I'm not sure about that, but I've heard the rumors of that. Because, after that it became... the conference was renamed Big 12, and the OSU in the early days when it was Oklahoma A&M, I don't think was really in the Big 8. Missouri Valley. Yeah.
Were there very many? You mentioned a couple. Were there very many at that time African American athletes were beginning to play at major universities?
Yeah.
Did they have very many? At your era on our team, you mentioned James.
Oh yeah, we didn't have many, but on my team was James King, Chad Brown, Freddie Mulder, and myself. And that was about it.
Did you were there some special friends that you hung out with? I mean, the other athletes, of course, Danny Lawson.
Oh, yeah. Well, of course, there were other athletes on campus, and Danny Lawson, you mentioned, was from Kentucky, and we hit it off great. Really enjoyed it. As a matter of fact, he's in Houston today, and we're still great friends. George Thomas was a football player from Oklahoma City. I still stay in contact with him. He's out in Arizona now. Yeah. Wardell Hollis is he was from Texas, San Antonio, Texas, I believe, and I think he's moved back to San Antonio. That's right. That's right, from the DC area. He moved back about a year or so ago. And then there were some other football players here on campus. They didn't stay long, from Houston even, on the football team. but they only stayed a couple of 1 or 2 years and left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Both.
Yeah. That's right. That's right. That's right.
Was there much social interaction between the white and the black athletes?
Not a lot. Just respectful. We didn't really hang out, if you want, together a lot. But if there was an event to attend and we were expected to be there, we'd be there. And so it was. So we tended to stay in our own little worlds. And it was at first that was difficult for me, but I learned to deal with it. It was just different because when I was in school in Houston, everybody was the one big happy family, Yeah.
And I guess that's one of the things.
Yeah.
You and I had some conversations,
Right.
But you actually, it was a little bit different. And we'll maybe ask a couple of questions.
Yeah.
But there wasn't near as many African Americans on campus.
No, that's right. That's right. That's correct.
Well, maybe the academic side a little bit. What was your major?
Well, I started out majoring in physics, and then I backed off of it and majored in math. But the reason I didn't stay with physics is not because I couldn't make my grades. I really enjoyed it. What I found after getting into the discipline was my classmates that were in physics, they just didn't talk the same language that I talked. I wanted to talk about sports. They were talking about equations. I wanted to talk about going out on dates. They had girls weren't even in their minds. I don't know if I met the wrong ones, but I said, gee, if I can't talk to these guys on a college campus, how am I going to work with them down the road? So I backed off of that, and I had so many math courses that I decided to major in math. Didn't really know what I was going to do with it, but that's what I did. And
you remember some of your professors, Ira?
Man,
have an impact on you personally, or?
I don't remember any of my professors. That was another thing. It was a big school for a guy, even from Houston, which was a large city. Coming up here, I really, and maybe because of the athletics and so much, it was so demanding on my time, and then I had to study when I wasn't practicing, participating in a game. I really didn't get close to many professors. I don't know if I even spoke to my academic advisor until I maybe was a junior and started getting serious. I need to graduate. What am I going to do here? So I didn't really do that. I was just another guy in the classroom, and I made it through that way. It would have been nice if I had some tutoring or someone that was a little senior to say something to me to help me out during the times. As a matter of fact, I can remember going to some classmates who were seniors, and maybe I was a freshman or sophomore, asking questions. What do you do? Do you take this class? Do you take that one? Just my comfort level was better with them than the professors on campus.
You might have answered this question about your comments earlier, but did you have the opportunity to engage in any activities, social activities?
Very, very little on campus. I did join a fraternity, however. That's a good story. There was an African American fraternity on campus, Alpha Phi Alpha. It was the only one on campus. So a couple of my good friends who were athletes decided we were going to join the Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity because they had parties and we wanted to go to the parties. We didn't know what was involved to become a member of a fraternity, but we just knew we needed to be a part of that group. And my father is an Omega. He's an Omega Psi Phi. I mean, strong member of that fraternity. Well, somehow the word got out that I was pledging Alpha. And he was in Houston, Texas. And believe it or not, he made a trip from Houston to Stillwater, looked for his son. Not only did he pull me off the line, but all my buddies, and said, you need to pledge Omega. And that's exactly what we all did. We had to go through the Langston chapter, Langston University chapter, and the grad chapter in Oklahoma City. But that's exactly what we did. And by that time, we found out what it took to become a member of a fraternity, and we didn't want to go, and that we were pledges, and we didn't really get to go to the parties and enjoy them. We were just workers at the party, and we couldn't socialize, so we didn't like that anyway. So, and going this other route, we could become a member without going through a whole lot of headaches. So that was a great deal.
Great story. Some of your favorite hangouts on campus and off campus, and where did your buddies hang out?
Well, we on campus, we really enjoyed the student union. Yeah, we really did. The fourth floor of the student union, I think they had a jukebox on the fourth floor, and we go up, play cards, and that's where Friday, Saturday nights we go and just enjoy ourselves on campus. I also spent a lot of time in the library. It's a little quiet place. But that was about it. Off campus, not many places to go to off campus. But yeah, during that era. That's right, in that era. But I think there was a little pizza place over here off 6th Street that we walk over to. But that was about it. Didn't have transportation, no car. Or if somebody did have a car, maybe 4 or 5 of us would get in the car and drive to Langston University or Oklahoma City to a concert or something. Yeah.
Well, we talked about this earlier, but you were one of the early, not one of the, say, the pioneers in the 50s, but certainly in the early 60s. You were one of the first African Americans on campus. There were not very many then. What was it? What was it like being black on a predominantly white campus?
Right.
That experience, cultural shock from you coming from Houston.
Yeah. Well, it was a cultural shock coming from Houston, but it wasn't as difficult for me as I thought it possibly could be. One thing that I realized was I was well prepared education-wise. I had classes in high school that many of the freshmen from Oklahoma had not had. So I was ahead of many freshmen in math and science. So I felt good about that. From the socializing standpoint, I didn't really do a heck of a lot of socializing in Houston. So that wasn't a big deal here, but after about a month or two, talking with my other high school classmates that went to predominantly African American universities, and hearing all that they were doing and what I was missing out on, I was ready to go back to Houston. I'll be honest with you, I really was. And my roommate was Chad Brown. On Saturdays, sometimes we'd sit in the room together and say, well, let's go home. Let's just pack up and go on back. What are the guys doing at Texas Southern University? They're having a ball tonight, But we decided to stick it out because after one semester, some of those guys that were at those other schools were back at home. And we didn't want to, that was one thing we decided we were not going to do is flunk out. We were not going to fail. And we didn't. So,
Saturday night you chatted in there. Was it hard to find a date on campus?
Well, we didn't have a lot of choices. Really didn't even, I don't know that dating was even on the radar screen. It was more just what do you do?
Social.
Just social. What are you gonna do? A date meant you need money, you need a place to go, and you didn't need a transportation maybe. We didn't have money. We didn't have transportation. So we found that if we did meet some young lady that we liked, we'd walk to the student union, or we'd walk to Theta Pond, okay, or something like that. But nothing. Or if there was a party on the weekend that the alphas were giving to other than Alpha Phi Alpha members, we go to that. Okay. But that was about it. It was we really had to create our own entertainment. And as a matter of fact, after a year, we formed we formed what we called the Top Hat Club, and it must have been about 15 guys. We called ourselves the Top Hats, and we pulled our little monies together, and we would have parties. We would just make that happen. We said that this we'd find somebody may have had an apartment or a house, and that's what we do. Okay. Yeah.
You had sort of built your own social network.
Built our own social network, our own activities. The university had they brought entertainers to campus, nationally known entertainers on campus, and of course they were not people that we were really that interested in seeing or hearing. So that was a downer. We tried, but it was just a downer. The university had big parties on campus at the student union. But of course, the music wasn't the type of music we wanted to hear. So that was a downer. So we just decided to, take it upon ourselves and create our own situation. And then we had our own disc jockey and just made it happen. Yeah.
I really asked a candid question. There's a lot of these disconnects for you, and I was just over that time and all that students on campus at that time. But did you feel welcomed or accepted on the OSU campus?
Well, I think yes, I felt welcome. I did, especially because I was an athlete. More people probably knew me than say just a guy that was just here to study. So that wasn't a bad situation. I never felt threatened or anything like that, but I never felt like the environment was one that was the most comfortable for me. I mean, things happen on campus, and I had an option to go to it, and those things are not. And I eventually chose not to go because I just didn't care for whatever it was. I wasn't a country western music lover. So when someone came to campus that played that type of music, I probably wouldn't attend. Okay.
Do you feel that has the atmosphere changed on campus over
Well,
even associated show years?
yeah.
Is it more inviting, welcoming, and supportive kind of campus?
Yeah. When I left Oklahoma State, after I graduated, I really wasn't that interested in returning to Stillwater. I really wasn't. I was ready. I got out because I had to get away. I graduated because that was on the radar. I needed to graduate, and I did that. So when I obtained that degree, I'm gone. That's it. Okay. And then I went out, started working, and got involved with the alumni group in Houston, Texas, OSU alumni group in Houston. And they were extremely welcoming, just brought me in, and I just felt a part of that organization time and time again. It was part of my social life. I don't know why, but I just felt good about it. And I stayed active with them and started coming back to Stillwater as a result of that. And it was at that time that OSU became something special to me. And it's just grown on me over the years. And I decided that I wanted to, help the university do whatever I could to make it even better for kids coming up later.
Yeah, I want to come back and maybe just sort of might help sort of fill in when you left here, and then I want to get back to your alumni association.
Right.
But when you left here, can you sort of give your career track?
Oh, okay. Well, I left. I was in ROTC. I stayed through 4 years of that. So when I left, I had an obligation to go to the military, and I had joined the Army, Air Defense Artillery, left here, went out to New Mexico to the White Sands Missile Range, and working with anti-ballistic systems, trajectories, and firings. Did that for 2 years and obtained a job with Exxon in Houston. So that gave me my ticket back to Houston. And I used to tell people after high school, I was in Oklahoma, Stillwater. Then I was in El Paso and New Mexico. And after all of that, Houston started looking pretty good. I said, so I went back to Houston and started my career there in the systems arena, computer systems arena. And I stayed with Exxon for about 20 years and did very well with Exxon. Very well. I was very, very high in the company when I left.
Yeah, I'm trying to recall a conversation you had previously about pay at the pump kind of thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Sure. I was a computer systems manager for the marketing department, and I was on a business trip, and I saw in a magazine that some guy in Virginia, someplace, gave his employee a credit card or a plastic card, and the employee used that card to insert in a gate, to open a gate so he could get into an area where pumps were, gasoline pumps, to fill up the vehicles for the company. And I looked around, and Exxon didn't have anything like that. And it was the first time I'd ever heard of it. And my job then was I had about 300 people working for me. During those days, the goal was to reduce people, do what you could with automation to reduce your head count. And I thought if somebody could generate a transaction at that pump, rather than my employees keying them or coding them or touching them, then I might be able to save maybe 10, 15 people in my group. So I proposed that thought process to my boss, and he kind of bought into it. And before I knew it, I was off on my own developing this thing and reading and researching, and the technology was coming. Exxon had not bought into it. So I kind of decided to take it on to myself to kind of get Exxon into the game. And I was successful with that. The first phase of this thing was to capture these gasoline transactions at the source, as far out at the source as you possibly could, and then transmit them back to the accounting area electronically. And so the first project was to do just that, to get all the data at the service station that you possibly could, rather than sending those paper tickets back to an accounting center. And so I managed that project and did it, but before I did that, I put together a whole grand scheme with the flow charts and all, and the ultimate goal was to use that card and insert it into a gasoline pump, way ahead of its time. Exxon had looked at it, but they shoved it away because they didn't think it was a good idea at the time. But I kind of pulled it off the shelf and made it happen. I left that area, went out to the coal company, had a nice job over there, and they brought me back to it to complete the job. So that was my claim to fame with Exxon.
So for all of us out here, we use our Exxon Mobil card. We
Yeah.
think about ours.
Ira Scott, yeah. There you go.
Great.
That's right. That's
So
right.
then after 20 years, you decided to go a different direction?
Yeah, well, marketing was not Exxon's main forte. They were a producing company, exploration production. And so the marketing department was never really just top-notch in Exxon's eyes. So it was declining. And that's where my career path was in marketing. I could see the handwriting on the wall. At some point, the Exxon wouldn't necessarily be in the marketing arena. and not with those folks. So I decided to leave. They were downsizing, and I decided to leave, and I was right. Eventually, Exxon merged with Mobil, and all the Exxon marketing folks, most of them, were left the company, and Exxon picked up the Mobil marketing people because they did a better job of marketing. So I left before all of that happened, and started my own business. Then I had a small business consulting company, which within a year I turned into it was a bus company, and I had touring buses, and I was able to successfully negotiate a contract with the Transit Authority in Houston, where I was actually managing a couple of the transit routes. And I'd lease my buses from the Transit Authority, and I'd hire the drivers and actually run those routes every day, well, 5 days a week. These were suburban routes. And did that for about 2 years. Found myself working 20-hour days, 7 days a week, making money, but that wasn't my idea of something that I needed to do, and I was trying to do it all myself, really. I didn't want to let go of anything. So I eventually sold that company and started working with Brown and Root. They really made me an offer while I had the company that I had. It helped me sell it because they gave me an offer to come to work with them. And part of the deal was I had to let my company go, and we had a good package to bring me on, so I said, okay, I'll do it. And with them, I was helping. They had a huge contract with the city of Houston to revamp all of their wastewater facilities, and I was doing quality control and small contractor development for them, for Brown and Root, under this contract with the city of Houston. So that's how I got from the gas business to the engineering consulting business. As a result of that experience, Brown and Root thought I could manage an engineering project. And I eventually became the program manager for that. It was $1 billion program that I was a part of at first. I eventually became the lead person for that program for the city of Houston. It was a great opportunity, a lot of work, but I really enjoyed that, and I kind of stayed in that arena since that time. Left them, went to another company, and did the same thing, and now I'm doing it for myself.
Did any of that, your background at Oklahoma State University, in terms of your experiences here, your athletic competition, and your math and your preparation, did it help prepare you for?
Oh, there's no doubt about it. What I found was, being an athlete and having a desire to make good grades, I had to manage my time. I had to set priorities. I had to know that when the exams were coming up, what I needed to study, when I needed to study, and when I could play. So, as a matter of fact, I made my best grades during this basketball season because I was forced to manage my time and do what I needed to do when. I was also I found that as a result of coming to Oklahoma, to the university here, that I was able to I could multitask. I could do a number of things at the same time and keep track of them. Okay, so it definitely helped me, because after you get out of school, you may have some basic skills and knowledge, but there are a lot of other things that the university don't teach you: how to deal with people. I guarantee you, the impact that Hank Iba had on me. Yeah, he was a tough coach, but I learned self-control. I learned how to take the heat and wait for the right opportunity to fire back. I learned how to talk to other people in a nice tone, as opposed to, I didn't want to be a Hank Iba. yeah, that's right. So it was those types of things that I really felt were based right here on campus.
Our kind of back to Houston a little bit. You've been involved in sort of political and government affairs in
Right.
Houston for a while. Can you share just a little bit about, I know, for example, stories we talked about earlier,
Right.
you were influential in helping maybe elect the first black
Mary, that's right.
So can you kind of share a little bit of that?
Sure. When I was with Brown and Root, and they had this contract with the city of Houston, one of my jobs was to help the city increase the number of small businesses that were doing city work. This was $1 billion program, and there were not enough known contractors in Houston to do that work. And the city wanted local businesses to get involved. So we needed to expand the pool of businesses that could do that work. Well, what we found was that there were other companies that could do the work, but they just weren't interested in doing city work, okay? Or they didn't know how to do some of the work. So my task was to help them with training and education and letting them know that a plumber could export his skills as a plumber to lay a 4-inch pipe in the ground, a water line for the city, okay, that type of thing. Well, when you start working with the city of Houston, you're automatically into the political process, okay? Well, my knowledge, I had a huge knowledge base of the engineering construction industry in Houston because of that job. Lee Brown was getting ready to run for mayor, and I met him, and someone thought that my knowledge was good for him to have on his team. So I got involved with that. That's when I got involved with the political process. I mean, really into it, out speaking and campaigning, and he eventually was elected mayor of Houston.
Danny Lawson.
And Danny Lawson was also, he was the friend from Kentucky, and he was a big fundraiser for Lee and a strategist for him. And so we eventually won the battle, and he was elected mayor, and he picked me to be a member of the board of the Transit Authority. And I was elected the vice chairman of the Transit Authority for that Houston-Harris County area, I held that position for about 5 years. And during that time, of course, politics was the name of the game, and I had a job at the time, and I'm in this arena. But we had to stay focused on the goal again, and that was we wanted to build a light rail system in Houston. This is for the transportation, a train system. And of course, there was opposition. I was the lead person to talk up the rail system, and again, we won that battle, even through lawsuits and court appearances and bad press and being on television, but we got through it all, and the rail line is now running in Houston. So we're really pleased with it, and of course, as a result of being involved politically in Houston, I've been involved throughout the country in other cities where, because of the contacts we've made, and it's part of the reason why I'm doing some of the work I'm doing today in New Orleans. Just had contacts down there.
Was it 2 years ago? The College of Arts and Sciences.
Yes.
Recognized as distinguished alumni
right.
award.
That's right.
Was that pretty special for you?
That was very special. I mean, very, very special. Heck, when I was on campus, I don't know if they even did that or not, but I'm sure there were some students from the College of Arts and Sciences that were acknowledged as being distinguished or something back then. They may have called them something else, but I didn't know anything about it. So when I was asked to do that, I said, "Oh no, I'm not distinguished. That's not my deal." And they said, "Oh yeah, we think you are," and da 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 da. So I agreed, and part of the package was I needed to come up and speak to the graduating students from the College of Arts and Sciences. Great evening, great day, great time. I really enjoyed it. I really appreciated the opportunity to share my story.
Congratulations. I was
Yeah.
there to
Yeah.
back to a conversation you were having earlier, and then want to kind of maybe pursue a little more your continued ties to Oklahoma State University.
Yes.
You talked about, I guess it was, I want to say John Cathy and some others.
Yes.
Leadership roles.
Right.
In the Houston
area,
chapter at that time. And some great, and they did have some great leadership. But you've maintained, especially close relationships to the Alumni Association.
That's right. Right.
And served on, as I think, chapter 11,
well, that's right. I was the president of the Houston chapter for a number of years, and that was, I just started out with guys saying, "Come on, go to this meeting," and I did, and I really liked them. And you mentioned John Cathy, and there were others down there that just kind of pulled me in. And before I knew it, I was involved, and I was the president of the Houston chapter.
And then someone visited with you about coming on the National Board of
Directors. That's right. And then I think Jerry Gill said, "You need to be on the National Board of Directors of the Alumni Association." So I did that, and so I used to come to Stillwater quite a bit for those meetings. And one of the things that I did down in Houston, we never, back in those days, we couldn't see the OSU football games. And I said, we ought to be able to find a way to get these football games televised in Houston. And we couldn't get them televised, but I worked a deal with the athletic department to I guess the local television station was televising or taping the football games. And they would ship a tape to me on Sunday. I'd receive it on Monday, and Monday evening I'd get the alumni group in Houston together, and we'd find a club or someplace in Houston that was large enough to hold us all, and that's when we'd watch the Saturday football game. They put it on a bus, as a matter of fact, and send it on down, and so that's how we come together every Monday after OSU football game. We'd watch the game.
You work to get radio station.
Yeah, and we worked to get that. We sure did. Thanks for reminding me of that. We worked to get a radio station to carry it, and that happened. It was all we never knew which one from year to year, and the quality wasn't the best. But I guarantee you that there was some OSU fans sitting around the radio listening when they could. So it was a good deal. Good deal.
All right. Yeah. You take special pride in this is sort of a full circle.
Yeah.
The OSU Black Alumni.
That's right.
Yeah, president.
That's correct. I was president of the local chapter in Houston of the OSU Alumni Association, and there was some folks here in Stillwater that wanted to start an OSU Black Alumni Association. Yeah, some of the faculty were involved in that. And I received a call about an organization meeting, and I came up to Stillwater, and we talked about it, and they put together the original mission and governing principles, and then tapped me to be the first president of the organization, the OSU Black Alumni Association.
Special sense of pride for you in that.
Well, it was yeah. Oh, no. I remember what I said earlier. There was something missing when I was on campus. And I thought that having this Black alumni group would help some students during those days to be closer to the university. When kids come to the campus and they all have something that they matriculate to, something, whether it be the band, studies, the library, a dorm, something. That they really take interest in, and you never know what that's going to be. But if you have those opportunities available, they'll choose one, and I think it helps retention also, because I had to look and hunt. We formed the Top Hat group, and that was so. After going home for the summer, I was looking forward to coming back and being with my buddies in the Top Hat group. So.
One of your first priorities, the Black Alumni Association, with scholarships too.
Yes.
Help students come here and stay in school.
That's correct. Yeah, that was really the priority originally, to do that. The faculty here was concerned about that aspect of it. And I must admit that I shared that interest with them, but I was more concerned about socializing. So I was walking a fine line between alumni and scholarships. And I had to really be careful because there was some in the organization that wanted to focus only on scholarships. And I kept saying, well, look, if you get some socialization here, you'll maybe be able to raise some money for those scholarships. And that's how we were able to get it going early on.
And again, speaking candidly, because I remember having the opportunity of being part of some of these discussions
Mhm.
with the Alumni Association.
Mhm.
Let's just say it, not everybody on our board of directors and your own
Yeah.
directors was favorable to having a separate
Yeah.
Alumni Association for African Americans.
That's right.
Remember that kind of
I remember those conversations. I remember many of those conversations, and I know that if we hadn't been strong and presented a good argument, and we had not had the support of Jerry Gill, it probably would not have happened. But
Remember
it.
the first time we tried it actually got tabled.
Yeah, there you go. That's right. And I think today, I think you have many organizations like that now. You know, that's it. That's right. That's right.
And then to say in your behalf,
Yeah.
a little bit self-serving, but now, I mean, I think most people recognize it's really a great organization, outstanding,
Right.
and things it does, and it just seems like that today it's a no-brainer. Well,
Right.
it wasn't a no-brainer back when we started.
No, it wasn't. It really wasn't. I mean, today, and you never know when in a person's life they're going to get involved with the Alumni Association. It may be golf. It may be a trip. It may be a football game. It may be something that the Alumni Association is putting on, and they see a name and say, I want to see that guy. Maybe a person. And so that's why I keep saying you have to just present those options to people and keep trying and keep trying. And eventually, in a person's life, I guarantee you they're going to show up at least once.
I heard some of the conversations too. Again, maybe it's good to be candid. Not some of the early pioneers, some of the 50s alumni, some of the early 60s,
Yeah.
Black alumni.
Yeah.
The experience wasn't always
No.
It's not that it was not positive. It was not as positive as it should have been.
No, it
There
wasn't.
were some feelings there.
Right.
And I remember some of the conversations that we had there with Sam Combs and yourself.
Yeah.
I remember Sam one time telling me, just get over it.
Yeah, just get over it.
It's different over issue now.
Yeah, that's right.
And,
Right.
But it's that. But I that's to say because of your relationship over the years, and you talking about how your relationship
Changed.
changed.
That's right. That's right. That's correct. I found something that I was interested in, and as a result of that something, it grew. The something grew to other areas that I was interested in. So, and it's healthy. And after all, this is the university that I graduated from, not any other one. This one. So. And when I see my buddies who graduated from other universities just having great fun with their alumni groups, this is me. So I have to, I don't have a choice really. Got to do it.
Well, I heard a couple of final thoughts here. There's Ira Scott, the tough, determined student athlete, the 6'4" guy trying to make it to 6'11" world.
Yeah.
The centers, the good student. I mean, and the young black man who succeeded in a white campus environment. Frankly, successful businessman. Astute political person, community leader, mentor, family man,
right?
An individual who's given freely of his time and talent. Who's the real Ira Scott?
Who's the real Ira Scott?
Who's the real Ira Scott?
I think the real Ira Scott, after all these years, is a person that really likes to get involved in community or people things. I really believe that. Really likes to organize people or get them motivated to accomplish something. I found that I was at my best in jobs in my career where I was the manager of a group and I had to motivate people. And I didn't think I was that type of person when I was much younger. But and it was really due to Exxon and my experience with OSU, the alumni group, that caused me over time to recognize that my true purpose is to deal with people and help them get motivated and to do whatever it is we need to do and to overcome negative thoughts, negative feelings, and in all cases, everything that I've ever worked in or been associated with, those types of feelings come out, and I've been able to overcome them some way. Even with OSU, I'll never forget when I got involved with the Black Alumni Association, I was not exposed to some of those negative experiences that other students were exposed to here. And they had some deep-rooted feelings about, negative feelings about the university. And I'm traveling around Oklahoma trying to encourage graduates to get involved with the alumni group, trying to encourage Oklahoma students to come to Oklahoma State University. And I kept getting hit with, why would you do that for that university in Stillwater? And they did, and I never heard of that. And I had to overcome that. And I helped form a Black alumni chapter in Tulsa, Oklahoma, that it was composed of a number of those people that had bad experiences. I said, we're going to do something different here. Who? That's right. That's right. And we're going to do something different. We're going to create what we want, and that's what we did. So they started coming back to campus and enjoying it.
Or how you sort of talked about how you kind of how you who the real Ira Scott is.
Yeah.
How do you help people remember you and your OSU, your days, your experience since? How do you want OSU people to remember you?
Oh, just a dedicated guy that truly wants individuals to succeed. That's it. I'm just dedicated to that. It doesn't have. If I don't make it, but you do, I'm fine with that because you made it. We made it. One of us made it. Okay, and I try to pass that along as far as I can to as many people as I can. Yeah.
Just maybe closing here, turn it the other way. What is the thing that's so special about Oklahoma State University? You played it on the line for Oklahoma State University for years and years and years. I mean, first as a student athlete, as a student for years in leadership. What is it that's so special about it?
I think it was the people, the people that I met after I left the university. I know it was that. I just felt that they were just the best people I had ever been involved with, and that's what kept me coming back. And I tell others today that I may not have enjoyed my experience while I was a student, but after I got out of the university and I started working, the OSU family was just great to me and to it, and I just really enjoyed the people that I met that were also students at the university. And that was the number one thing. And it helped me in my work life, with my career. It helped me in my political life, and it certainly helped me as I got involved with the Alumni Association.
Well, final question. You did turn in a fair score at the golf tournament.
Hey, yeah, it was fair.